Hey guys, so me and a friend are actually going to do a video on mental health awareness, and we're going to try to make this a series video, and we're probably going to post one maybe once a week, maybe even once a month, depending on the timing of when we can get together and talk about these things. So to start off, for the first video, we're going to talk about depression and anxiety because it's something that we both deal with and something that we both struggle with. And this is not a video to pick anybody out of a crowd and say that my life is worse than yours or harder than yours, because that's not at all true. I know somebody out there has it harder than me. This is just to kind of share my general background and my general story with you guys, as well as hers, and to just kind of tell you how we try to cope and deal with the situation and how it feels at the time. So it's just sort of a way to explain our stories and our pasts and how we deal with it, and hopefully you guys will get something positive out of that. So we can get started. Alright guys, here's Aiyana's story and kind of how she got to where she is and how she copes with her situation and her emotions as they arise. So
I don't really know where to start. There's been a lot that's happened to me, good and bad. But I guess, like, one of the first biggest issues that arose for me was, that was ongoing, was my parents' alcohol abuse. Both of them drank a lot from the time that before I was born, actually, up until I was like 12. That caused them to fight a lot, to fight with me a lot. So that just caused a lot of issues for me. So now, because of that, I think that's one of the root causes of my anxiety and my PTSD, of course. But depression, for me, was something that I didn't really quite realize that I had until I was about 14. And I was a freshman in high school, and I was having a lot of problems with people at school because, you know, I'm one of the younger kids, and so, I mean, if the upperclassmen feel like it's easier to pick on you. I remember my mom getting angry at me for not doing anything around the house or not wanting to, like, get up and do things. And she always used depression as her reason for not doing anything. So whenever she got mad at me, I kind of, like, got really upset about it, and I was like, well, you know what, maybe I'm depressed too, you know, like, maybe I have a problem too. She's like, well, maybe, but that's no excuse. And so, like, I kind of suppressed it again for a really long time, for about another year. And then when I was a sophomore, when I was about 15, I started going to see a therapist, and that actually helped me a lot for a while. But then I was in a relationship that got really rocky, and I was in a lot of really bad friendships with a lot of really bad people, and it was just terrible. A lot of, like, the people that I was friends with at the time had a tendency to, there was like 12 people that would hang out at my ex-girlfriend's house all the time, and 12 plus, that's just the low. But out of all of these people, everyone wanted to pick me out of the group to determine what I should and shouldn't do with my life. So if I did anything that they thought was remotely wrong in any way, they would make it such a big deal and blow way out of proportion. But if anybody else did the same exact thing, it was like, oh well, who cares? They're just being them. So, I mean, that was really, like, I don't know, I feel like that's really bad. Like, and after I broke up with that girl, I fell really low. And to me, that was me personally hitting rock bottom, was around January to July 2015. I got to a point around March where I told myself, that I convinced myself that I was better and that I was okay, when in all reality, I had developed a big, not necessarily a big, but a slight alcohol dependency. I drank all the time, and that was my coping mechanism, which I really don't recommend. Don't do that.
It honestly makes things worse.
It does.
A lot worse. And just a slight add-on to what she said about the toxic people, be careful who you surround yourself with, guys, because if you surround yourself with the wrong people, situations can arise that are going to harm you personally, and it's just not a type of situation you want to find yourself in, because it can make things a lot worse. So when you surround yourself with people, be very, very picky, and when you first start hanging out with those people, make sure you keep your walls up, and you keep them up strong and hard until you know for sure that you can trust them, because it's really, really helpful towards guarding your heart and guarding who you are and not losing that in the process.
Be very observant of people. Pay attention to how they act towards you and how they act towards everyone else.
And that goes the same for relationships as far as dating goes. If he treats his mama like crap, he's going to treat you like crap. That's just proven that way. And that also kind of depends on how the mama is. If the mom is a nice person and he treats her like crap, then he's definitely not going to treat you okay.
But if she's, like, evil
or manipulative or rude in any way at all, that's a different story.
Then she probably might deserve it.
Yeah, and I would get the background behind that before you jump to any conclusions. But definitely pay attention to the way he treats other people, because that's definitely how he's going to treat you. So, he or she. Not to bump over any toes there.
But around that time, I had a lot of problems with myself. I had a lot of problems with people that I was friends with. These people weren't even necessarily my friends. They were just there because I had a party house. My parents didn't care what I did. It was basically, as long as you're not getting pregnant or arrested, then whatever, we don't care. Which, I mean, on one hand, a lot of people always think that that's really cool. But it's kind of not, because if you go down the wrong path and you don't have the willpower or the ability to tell yourself to stop like I did, I was lucky enough to be able to do that, then, I mean, your parents aren't gonna care, because they're just gonna think, oh, you're just a little partying teenager like I was, it's no big deal.
And I understand that everyone out there is going to have different scenarios and situations with their parents and with their families, and that could go either good or bad, or it could be completely non-existent. You could be jumping around foster homes, or you could be, in an orphanage. But when you're around your family, if they are trying to tell you what to do, and you're younger than consenting age, if they're trying to tell you what to do or what not to do, or they're trying to warn you about something, listen to them. I know you don't like dictation, and it sucks. Trust me, I hated it. I still do, because it still happens. It's no fun, trust me. But take time to listen to what they're saying and think about it, because they could have a point to what they're trying to say. It could be because they're trying to protect you, and in the future, you're going to look back on that, and you're going to go, wow, I'm glad they did that. And if you don't have someone in your life that does that, that's parenting, you don't have parents, look to an elder that you trust.
Or even a friend.
Or even a friend that you look up to.
Things.
Talk to people like that. Always find someone you can trust. Always try to find somebody who you have trust with. So, it's definitely a good idea to find someone who can keep you on the right path.
Yeah, and, I didn't have very many of those people, because, again, they were all kind of really terrible. But, I went through a lot during that time period, friends being friends, and, really bad relationships, some relatively abusive, according to some people. I mean, myself now as well. Sexual abuse and harassment, a lot, and it builds up a lot. A lot of people don't think that smaller things will build up so much, but they do. And I finally got to this point where I told myself, I can't do this because if I want a better life than what I grew up with, I can't continue down the same path because, I mean, that's just gonna ruin your life. So, I mean, for one, don't drink to cope with your problems. It just causes more problems.
Socially is acceptable. You can drink socially. Gatherings, birthdays, that's fine. Don't do it as a coping mechanism. It only makes everything worse. And again, surround yourself with the right people, honestly. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself.
Talk to people about things that have happened to you, people that you trust, because
even when you're depressed, you have to have face-to-face contact with people. Introverted people, depressed people who don't necessarily want that, it's actually better for you to talk to someone. It's better to have face-to-face contact with someone at some point because it's just going to make you slip deeper into that depression because you're alone with your own thoughts, and that's not somewhere you want to be on a regular basis.
And on a little more positive note, I actually don't drink anymore.
Yeah. She's been doing pretty good.
I don't. And you know that.
Ignore him. That right there. Ignore that.
But I don't really. I mean, it makes me sick if I even try. So, I mean, no matter how far down you think you are, there's always a way up.
And there is no further down than rock bottom. So once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. And I'm sure you've heard that a million times because everybody says it. But it's the truth. That's why it keeps being brought up.
A lot of times you won't realize that you hit rock bottom until afterwards, whenever you bring yourself out of it, and then you'll realize that was my rock bottom.
Right. So. And what may feel like rock bottom at the moment may not necessarily actually be rock bottom. I don't think I've necessarily hit mine just yet. But
some people don't. Some people don't hit a rock bottom.
They get pretty damn close, though. And then they finally realize, oh, I should probably not do that.
And I mean, some people's rock bottom is getting into drugs and drinking and getting in trouble with the law. And some people's rock bottom is being isolated from anybody and not wanting to go out, not talking to their friends anymore, and I mean, it just depends on the person.
That's another situation. Don't get into drug stuff either. It's just not a good idea. It escalates things too, and even if it does make you forget, it's only temporary because the minute it's gone, it's back.
That.
It'll be back as soon as you're sobered out. You'll feel it's the same with alcohol. The minute you sober out, it's right back, and it comes back 10 times stronger than before you started drinking.
That's how an addiction starts. Whenever you use it as a coping mechanism, because I've been there with drugs, I've been there with alcohol.
You have to have it in order to feel okay.
Because you start out thinking, this is going to make me feel better, this is going to make me feel okay. And then you take it and you do it, you go party or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you're not high anymore, you're not drunk anymore, and you feel like crap all over again.
And
then you say to yourself, if only I had more of that, whatever it is, I would be okay again.
And not only does that hurt you mentally because you feel the need to go back to that, but it will hurt you physically. I mean, not only the fact that drugs are harmful to your body, but when you're in that state, you're not stable either on your feet or in your mind, and you could hurt yourself. You know, you could wander off into traffic and not realize it. You could fall and end up off a cliff or in front of anything could happen. And that's why it's dangerous to get into that state of mind very often without the right people around you. If you're doing it socially and you have the right group of people there to keep an eye on you and to keep you accountable for your actions, then it's not a bad idea. It's okay. But don't do it as a coping mechanism because it could be very harmful to you in every form of the words.
And stay in school and do good in school because I have issues with that. And I've had issues with that.
School's hard. It's very hard.
Really difficult. I mean, I went through 1 year where I didn't fail a class in high school, and I'm a senior now. And I went to a different school, part of first semester this year as a senior, and I failed all but one class. So now that I'm a second semester senior, all my friends have pass cards so they get to leave school early and stuff. And I don't. I have to go the full day. I have to take 7 classes, like 3 of which are with freshmen and sophomores, which sucks when you're a senior.
Right. And it's just a good idea to keep your education up anyway, because that's another way you can pull yourself out of that hole. You can do something better with your life with the proper education. Even just a high school education, the possibilities are endless. And if you're like me, and you have a dream of doing something with your life that requires what I'm doing now, editing videos, and you enjoy that kind of thing, start making videos. I mean, you hit a certain amount of subscribers and you're making money, and you don't have to have an education to do that. You don't have to have a degree to do that. It's a learning process. But obviously a degree, or at least an education of high school level, is a good idea.
And I get that school isn't for a lot of people. A lot of people, just school's not their thing at all. There are things other than high school. I mean, of course, try your best to stay in high school and finish your classes and get good grades in your classes, but if you absolutely can't do that, or that just doesn't work for you at all, you can get a GED. That is literally the equivalent to a diploma, and even with a GED, I mean, some people frown upon it, but it's becoming more popular now, and he has one. And
I mean, you can still get jobs at, aerosystem places, making quite a bit of money, and that's a build-up thing. You can start in one spot, train, work your way up, and get a really good job.
You can also still go. You can also still go to college with a GED. A lot of people will think that you can't for some reason, or they think that it's not as easy to get in.
It might be a little harder depending on the school. If you're looking at Ivy Leagues, it's definitely good to have a high school education.
You probably want to finish high school.
Definitely if you want to do something like that. But that's for the people who really feel like school is their thing and they have huge dreams for the future that require an education in a high-up school like that.
People like me, like if I were to not finish high school, and I went and got my GED, I plan on going to community college first anyways because it's way cheaper. So, I mean, community colleges still take people with GEDs, and you can still, I mean, from that point, after you get your GED and you get your degree from whatever college you're going to, after that, I mean, basically, the GED doesn't matter anymore. It's your degree from college. So, I mean, that's all it matters.
So, if you guys learned anything from this video that helped you personally, please let us know down in the comments. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here. I mean, right now, I'm not big enough on YouTube that I can't get your comments and that I can't see what you have to say and that I can't hear from you. So please, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. And if you need someone to talk to, I'm sure she wouldn't mind having some people to talk to as well. So,
I'm really lonely.
We will be doing this as a series. We'll be talking about different mental illnesses as we go. And they will be labeled as such. Descriptions will have everything in there. If you have certain mental illnesses and don't have other ones, then they will be broken up to where you can watch that video and kind of hear other people's stories and backgrounds behind that. So if you guys like the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll be keeping this series going as consistently as we can. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.